Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. As you can see, we got Paul back, we got the Cruz73 back, and it is time for the in-depth review. Are you ready?
Yeah.
And hopefully you can hear him a lot better because he got his mic on this time.
I do.
Yeah, so Paul done probably about 150, 200 miles now.
Yeah.
So obviously the first time he's done about 50, 75, 100 more than the first review.
Yeah.
And I did the second review on that one, so I did 200 miles. So
Yeah.
it's a good range. Let's start on the good side. Run me through the good stuff, bro.
Brilliant bike. I mean, it's the only one other than yours that I've ever ridden. So, you know, my opinion is narrow, but really enjoying it. It's fast, you know, it's comfy. It's the lights on it are great. I love the display. The removable battery is just such a big advantage over the scooter. You know, the fact that I could buy a second for more range would be great. I don't know where I'm going to mount it, but either I mount a second one or just carry it with me. More and more the storage, like even though it's a little bit sort of naff plastic, it's just really nice to have. I mean, I don't have a backpack with me today. In there is 2 bike locks, and one of them is quite big. It's that kryptonite lock that you've got, and I've got another small lock in there as well, and the charger is in there. So, you know, with no backpack on, you've got ample storage. So if you had a backpack as well, you're going to take whatever you need with you. Obviously, I did forget my gloves today, which is not ideal. So I'm thinking of buying.
Freezing. You can't take that on the camera, but it is freezing today. Yeah.
So I'm thinking I buy a spare pair. And they go in there in future, because just to be like, oh no, I forgot my gloves. I'm just unlock, and you've always got a pair with you. Then great. Something you did point out today, I know we said we're talking about the good. And obviously, as I mentioned in the very first video, it is nice that you get both mudguards with the bike. But as you pointed out with yours, your mudguard is very, very
long in comparison. And
as we found out today, if you go rural, like we did, you do get a bit of flick back, you know. So I did, or maybe not, get covered in cow shit today. Which
throughout this video, guys, you'll see some of that ride. We decided to go somewhere where we'd never been, so obviously we didn't know what to expect, and it turned out a little bit crazy,
but it was good fun.
It was good fun. So what I'll do, guys, is as I always do, as we talk about different stuff on the bike, I'll put the actual proper statistics, power levels, all that kind of stuff on the screen. Big front light, mentioned it in the first one, but upside down forks. And in my experience with the bike, really, really bouncy, really, really nice, smooth. And you took the battery off for the first time today, didn't you?
I did. Charge it. Yeah. So it's got a little lock feature. You just turn the key, twist, and then off he comes. And then round this side is you've got just like a little flick up protective cover. Your battery thing goes in there, and then you can turn your battery on and off as well.
And off.
So generally I turn it off when charging, but it didn't say that in the manual. It's just what I do.
So what's pretty cool, just like mine as well, has a USB port in case you want to charge your phone off of it as well, which your Paul's now looking like, Jesus Christ, I didn't notice that was there.
Maybe.
Which is pretty cool.
I did think that might just be to like another way to charge it, but I thought that would be slow.
No, it would come out. So, and what Paul's is pretty cool. So as people know, I'm thinking about getting the Egg Rider. Paul's display does one of the cool features that the Egg Rider already does, which is he can make his throttle independent of his pedal assist. So he can set his pedal assist to 2, ride it like 10 miles an hour. But if he presses that, you can allow it to have the full power and just shoot on by. Whereas
great for overtaking or pulling away from a junction or whatever. One of the things I was going to mention about this is how convenient it is just while you're on the move to be able to just go into the settings up and down, and then you can go through them all. And if like you've got a super brain, or you do what I did and you take a photo, you can remember what each each setting is. So I know now going to P8 allows me to go up and down on the speed cap. And now going up and down on the, like at the moment we've got it set to 27 because that was working for, each time you change that, each pedal assist goes faster or slower. So it's not just the bike will only go 27 kilometers an hour. It seems to affect how fast each pedal assist
level goes.
So I had to match mine today, didn't I? You were on pedal assist 7, I think, because you spread yours out. I mean, you've got 9 options. 9 options, whereas I've only got the 5. So obviously then we were just using 5, but all the way here we were pretty much using 3, which when I changed it before, it was going about 17, 18, wasn't it, when I started? And I notched it down a couple of km, and we got to a comfy sort of 16 and a half was what we were going. Yeah, so it's nice to just be able to up and down, cycle through, do, up, down, and save, you know? It's nice just being able to flick through like
another good thing about this bike, obviously Paul can't really take advantage of this because he's not one of the tallest men on the planet, but it is really a tall man's bike.
It is.
Because it is tall, much taller, like at least 20, 30 millimeters taller than mine.
Yeah.
Taller than mine, and it does feel it as well when you sit on it. It feels like a much bigger bike. Also, because of this, when I ride it, I also feel it's a lot wider.
Yeah, it
because it gives you the impression that it's wider, but obviously this comes out a lot further than the rest of the frame.
Yeah.
So it gives you that kind of optical illusion.
It is optional. You don't have to attach it. It comes separated, and you can put it on whether you want it or not. Like some people, you might want it on there just because you like the style of it.
Yeah.
Some people might not want it on there because they don't like the style of it, you know?
Yeah.
Whether you're going to use the storage or not, obviously, is completely up to you.
I'd be using it all the time. I'd definitely be putting it on if I was there. Because as you can see, I've basically made my own.
Yeah.
With a bag on there anyway.
Yeah.
It is a very, very nice bike. Now, we move on to the stuff that people really want to know. The bad bits.
Yeah.
Come on then, hit me with some bad bits. Hit me with the stuff that you're not so keen on.
My main baddest part could be just a fault in my own person because the saddle is squishy. It's comfy, you see, but it tapers like a bike saddle.
Yeah.
I think I might have said it before that you get fucking saddle sore. Like, I think it might just be I'm being too weak. I'm not used to it. I've always been on a scooter. I'm standing up. Now we're going for longer rides. Like we found somewhere to charge today. Brilliant. It does mean we might be out a bit longer. And God, I suffered the next day, the day after that, the day after that. I'm just sat in my PC chair and I'm like, you know, crikey. So I do think that like after a while, perhaps you get used to that. I do feel like every day, the more I sort of squish it in, it's almost like new shoes.
Yeah.
The more I squish it in, the comfier it gets.
Needs to be worn in.
Yeah, it needs to be worn in because even at the back, it feels more firm than it does at the front now where I've been using it. So my main complaint is just pain. It's painful. I don't know if you ever got that with yours because it's a really long seat. I guess maybe you never got the pain, but you do get saddle pain.
Yeah, anything else?
Again, we've just pointed out today, the Mudguards.
Yeah.
It's great that they come free with it, but I do wish they were longer. I've not had to worry about it so far. Like, I've driven in the rain and been fine, but obviously, as you can see, there's a bit of dirt on the saddle now.
Yeah.
And my ass is here, and I still got some like dirt up my back, didn't I? Which means I don't know how, because it's so far along. I don't know how it's flicking up like that, but it somehow.
I guess kind of like if I look down like this, guys, as you can see, we can still see Paul's tire. So anything that's flicking off will at least go here. Whereas if we go to my bike and we look down, we can't see the tire. So it's got almost 6-7 inches, a man's 6-7 inches, I say.
Yeah.
Further on the Mudguards than Paul's does.
Mine does, yeah. I don't know if you could potentially set it back further, but from where it's mounted, it might be a thing that if we do a lot of off-road, I potentially buy
some third-party ones, get some third-party ones on there.
Either get a third-party one, a longer one, or, like you said, just craft something onto the back that extends it a bit further. Whether that'll look very good.
3D printer. Get some 3D printed ones on there. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. And also, one of the things I want you to talk about is the plastic this is made out of.
Yes. Yeah. So the rest of the bike, the build quality, phenomenal. I was really happy with it. I know you said you weren't so keen on these, but I really like them, and the way they fit my hands perfectly because the way they tilt down, my palms sit in it, and it's really comfy. And I just like the leather they're made of. The saddle again, nice. The forks were nice. The suspension's nice, and I love the tires. The tires are great. No slippage at all today going through.
No, we were going through some muddy
long
stuff.
Grass, and you know, as you said, I was bouncing along, nice and comfy. But the bad. This doesn't match the build quality for the rest of it. I don't know why. They've decided to do it in some sort of shitty, cheap plastic, but they have. And even the key itself is like such a bodge job, budget key. And the lock, obviously, it doesn't attach.
That's the bit that gets me.
That's weird.
That's the bit that gets me.
You think it would be on a hinge?
Cruz73, if you're watching, next model, hinge.
Yeah.
What? Just whack a hinge there.
But as you can see, 2 locks.
Yeah.
That's in there. You've still got some space for other things.
He's got the big kryptonite lock. He's got the kryptonite chain and another lock chain.
Yeah.
And the full charger.
Yeah.
And he can still shove his gloves in there, put some keys in there, all that kind of stuff. So lots of space.
So yeah, another thing, you have to push it down as you turn the lock.
Yeah.
And the lock is not very good. You can turn it around like that and keep going. So, like, you can now I wouldn't be able to lock it anymore because that is now locked, even though that's supposed to be unlocked. And then you twist. I mean, you can just tighten this, I suppose. This just isn't tight enough, which is perhaps on me. Like, I obviously built the bike, so I could have tightened that more.
That's another thing, guys. Cruz didn't, because you bought it directly from Cruz Bikes, didn't you? And they don't offer a build service.
I'm not sure about that.
Not sure?
Yeah, I'm not sure about that because I remember looking on one website and they were like, you can pay 50 quid and you can have it built or whatever. And I couldn't remember with Cruz if they had that option or not. Either way, I picked no.
Yeah.
Don't pick no. Don't pick no. Don't build it yourself. Don't think, oh, I know how to build a bike. Like, it's just not worth the hassle.
Yeah.
It does come not so much in a lot of pieces, but it's fiddly, especially if you're by yourself. If you've got a mate with you or something, you might be all right because you'll find you're trying to balance. I can't remember which one comes. So the rear tire comes mounted, but the front doesn't.
Yeah.
So you're having to like lift it. It's heavy.
Yeah.
So you're trying to like get the forks to match where the tire is. Obviously, a tire doesn't want to stand up on its own either. So you're there, trying to, whatever. And the instructions, they're not clear.
They're not clear.
So you will find yourself going, where the hell does this go? What the hell do I do with this? The tools they send you, you might want to make sure you've got your own tools because I remember putting this together. There's 2 bolts underneath here.
Right.
The tool they give you is far too big to go in that gap. You could never tighten it. So I had hand tightened it, and not too far from here, actually. My uncle lives about 10 minutes over that way. I had to ride it with the handlebars moving to his house to get some more tools that could go in there and tighten these up because whether I put it together in the wrong order, again, poor instructions.
Poor instructions.
So, but either way, it's just not worth the hassle. If you can pay someone 50 quid to build it and save you the 4 hours of swearing at yourself to build it yourself, I'd do it.
Yeah.
The handlebars, I love them, right? They're great shape and all that sort of thing, but it does mean fitting things like I fit this here for my phone. Obviously, you can just tilt this out the way. I've got this underneath as another spare light.
Yeah.
So I've got a light hanging under the display that I can point down. That points down, the display moves, and I can have my phone there for sat navs and stuff. Because when I'm on it, if that's out the way and that's moved down like that, the phone sits in there.
Yeah.
And I can see it, and it's fine. But it would be nice to have it up here,
have it up there.
Which you need a different type of mount than the ones I've got because they're very thin handlebars.
Or, alternatively, a different display. Like an egg rider. Get an egg rider on here and then it can just sit there and then you can move that onto the main bars.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing is, I do like this one. I do like this display. It's nice, big and clear.
Only problem with this display, the one bad thing about it is the battery.
Yeah.
You can't tell whether it's full or dead or whatever because if I turn it on now, it says full. Oh, okay, it says it's 1 down, which is fine because coming down there, it was 2 down or something like that, and it's hard to know, it's hard to gauge with this one, especially because it can go from half to dead to half to dead, and like even though it might say it's dead, you're not dead. You can still get 10 minutes to your house, and then another time it might be full, and then all of a sudden you feel it like chugging, and you're like, oh, it's dead.
Yeah.
So it's not super accurate. I don't know if that's a setting I've done wrong because I know you can set it to detect different volts or something, can't you? I can't remember what the setting was, but it might just be on the wrong setting for it.
I'll add to it, and this can either be good or bad, depending on your perspective and what you want from a bike. This bike is heavy.
It is heavy.
You know, it's a full suspension bike, so it's got extra linkages. The metal's a little bit thicker, all those kind of stuff. So in our ride that we went through today, we had to go through these gates. And it was a lot more difficult to get Paul's bike through the gates than it was to get my bike through the gates, which is a little bit lighter.
Yeah.
So, but weight does give you stability on the road. You feel more solid.
Certainly does. I remember when I was working at Wilko and Kingswood, they had steep stairs at the back. Now I had to get this up there, obviously, and there aren't a lot of places where you can really put your hands, you know, so it is liftable.
Yeah.
And you can. I did get it up the stairs, but doing that every day is...
And going sideways up the stairs like this.
Yeah, exactly. It's not ideal. It would have been better if it was lighter. Obviously, I was used to taking a scooter in, which I had a heavy scooter, but it's still way lighter in comparison.
Because in comparison, it was actually just before I started recording, but we got to this gate, and with my one, I picked it up and put it over the gate. Whereas with Paul's, we both had to get, he was on the back, I was on the front, and we had to lift it over. So there is a big weight difference, but it does also add stability. It's like in a car. Heavier cars feel better on the road than light cars. Yeah, it's one of those things that you have to consider if you're going to get a bike, especially if you're in a flat. As Paul said, and you've got to take it upstairs, you've got no lift. That's got to come into...
You're going to sweat.
You're going to sweat, you know. You might build some guns after a few months. But, yeah. So what I'm going to do now, guys, is I'm going to give Paul my helmet, and he's going to go ride and talk to you. All right? And tell us about the bike. Give that a go. No. You got such a pea head.
Yeah, I do. So we're just going to...
So all Paul's got to do is say what's on his mind, people, okay?
Yeah.
So just say what the ride's like.
Very nice.
Welcome to Electric Awesome.
Welcome to Electric Awesome. We're going on a ride. Come with me, guys. So we've got it in pedal assist 5 at the moment. Real nice going up and down the hills. It's got great pulling power, you know, you really feel it kick in when you pedal. You can hear it too. Thankfully it's not too loud when you're riding, which is nice, because I've come from a scooter which was obviously deadly silent, which a lot of people complain about, is that you can't hear them coming, you know, where one of these you can at least hear it coming, but it's not so loud that you can't talk to a friend as you're going around, you know. Going along past some people enjoying their walk, but as you can tell I'm going across a very bumpy broken road, and it is still very comfy. I think that guy's had a bit too much to drink. Hopefully no cows. We'll go back up and see Jay in a minute, but yeah, nice and comfy ride, no matter if you're hitting bumps. As I said, today me and Jay went on a bit of a cruise around, went on a bit of a cruise around the countryside, and we went through fields and farms and over gates, and I liked the extra height on it then. As he said, you know, I'm not the tallest guy in the world, but going through really long grass, I could essentially put my legs up and just, you know, throttle, and away we go, and nice and quick, nice and comfy. And when you get to those steep hills where you're forced to like walk it up yourself, oh, we'll go this way, why not, where you're forced to walk it up yourself, there is like a walk assist mode, but also with the throttle you can just press it a little bit and let it carry itself up the hills, which is really nice. We're gonna pass some kids here, which is not ideal because you never know what they're gonna do. Sometimes they just swerve out in front of you and you're like, oh, you do not value your life. I don't even know if you can hear me actually, because the microphone is on the outside of my jacket and it is very windy today, and I forgot my gloves, so it's also very cold. Come on then, let's whiz past. no pedal assist. It's not on, I mean, without me pedaling to assist it, it was on pedal assist 5, which is the current maximum, capped at 27 kilometers an hour, I think it was, and we just went up quite a steep hill then without me pedaling to help it. Climbs up 16 miles an hour, 70 miles an hour. Is definitely not bad. Thank you, cheers. And now we're going to catch up with Lamey Jane. Hello, hello.
I was like, where's he going? But no, you can keep that on for the last little bit of the video, then they
so
get your slice.
So that you can be in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, last but not least, gotta ask, is there anything you would change or add to the bike? So peeps, you might have guessed that this is a different day. GoPro died. So the last question I asked you was, is there anything you change or add?
I wish I could remember. We had some good footage. It's a shame that we did not notice everything died.
Yeah. Yeah. And there is cues, because on the GoPro there's little digits on the outside saying when it's recorded, and I did not look at them a single time. So I guess because I'm used to wearing it.
It's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did have it on my head, didn't I? And
yeah.
I was more concerned about. I notice I keep my head to the side all the time, and I don't know. Like, I thought all your footage is going to be sideways.
To be fair, Bristol is a hilly land, so it's hard to tell when it's straight anyway.
Right. Okay. Let's just say it's that then, and I'm not wonky.
You're not lopsided.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I must have like one heavy ear.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, what would I change about the bike? I think I said the build quality on the plastic box, the storage box. That's definitely one of the drawbacks, but I'd still rather have it than not have it. Yeah. Because, you know, being able to store the 2 locks in there, the charger in there, and I think we might have showed that already in some footage. We did, the space that's in it, and
there's still little pockets even after that inside there if you want to spare gloves or something like that. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So even though I changed the build quality on it personally, because you are paying $2,000 for a bike, and like people have said, you can build one for less. So it does feel like they cheat out a little bit on the build quality of the thing, but the rest of the bike makes up for it in so many other ways. Yeah. What else? What else would I change? I mean, the LCD display needs a more accurate reading of the battery, but I don't know if that's something I can do in the settings or something that I've accidentally messed up in the settings. Very possible. You know, I was talking around with it.
Because I noticed that probably on the first impressions review of the bike is while I'm riding, like when I'm going downhill, it says I was full battery. Yeah. And then when I was coming back to you on the uphill, it was going half battery.
It's almost like it tries to gauge the current strain you're putting on the bike is how long left you've got of the battery. You know, which I can understand from some viewpoint would be useful, but when I'm just driving along on a straight path and it says I've got 3, and then I stop pedaling and I've got 4, and then I've got 5, and then I've got 6, and I'm like, so, you know, because your speed changes so much, it just makes that not very useful.
Yeah, I think from my perspective, like if it was my bike, one, I'd be loving it just because I love the full suspension on it.
The suspension is nice, I do need to soften it for myself. I'm just not heavy enough, so it doesn't bounce for me quite like it does for others.
But what I'd probably change is just because I'm so big. Like when I sit on Paul's bike, I sit on the pillion seat anyway. Right. Because I've got to sit that far back, so I couldn't have a pillion on it. Right. Even if I wanted to, so just a normal seat, like a flat seat like mine, because you say you prefer my seat too.
Yeah, I do. I think I preferred your seat just because that was the design I was originally wanting. Do you know what I mean? That was what I was originally going for. I'm getting used to my seat now, and it is getting, like, you know, comfier as wearing in, like shoes do. But as you said, you sit on the pillion. I couldn't sit on the pillion. I showed you before, if I sit back on the pillion, my feet don't reach the bottom. So, you know, like, if I was to try and put my foot on the floor, I wouldn't get a reach, or when the pedals extend out, it'd be right on my tiptoes. You know? So being a short guy, you do need to sit in the front. I think I'd change the shape. I wouldn't change the saddle so much as I'd change the pillion just goes all the way across. Do you know what I mean? Like it's unit. I've got the seat that I've got with the thickness that is there, the material that's there, but the shape of yours. would be nice.
I reckon as well, like, it's a good advert here for the bike, because Paul's like 5'6", I'm 6'5", and both of us can be comfortable on his bike.
True.
You know? And the thing is as well, you could be even taller than me, I think, and still be comfortable on the bike.
I don't think there is anyone.
I reckon you could be upwards
right.
6'8", 6'9", and still be comfy on that bike. But as I say, once you reach my height and the length of my legs, you're sitting on the pillion.
Yeah, unless we start marketing them for the NBA players. I think you're probably all right at your height.
Yeah, I think in summary, it's a really good bike. The price point, I think, weirdly, I think, one of the weird things about it, I think, because they've called it Cruz73.
I'm not a big fan of that, because I found out,
Super
obviously,
73,
Super 73.
I think if
really
they
wish
named
they
it,
just uniqued it.
Yeah, I weirdly think if they renamed it to something just brand new, just a new one, they could charge more for it.
Yeah.
Because I think, giving it the name Cruz73...
I think they were worried they wouldn't get enough traction coming out with a new bike, you know.
Yeah.
Putting Cruz73 made it like, it makes papers and stuff run with that sort of thing, like, this new version, cheaper version of the Super 73 is out. So I think they were going for that. But at the same time, if you called that, like, I don't know, the Cruise Old Style, or something like that, you know, the Cruise Retro.
Cruise Retro,
you know, I'd be like, Cruise Retro is awesome. But because it is now the baby brother of the Super 73, makes me feel like, well, maybe I should just have a Super 73, you know?
They did it, like, they're marketing whiz people, and they go, people are going to search Super 73, 73, right?
Yeah.
They're going to find the Super 73 is $5,000.
Yeah.
The next search down is the Cruise 73, $2,000.
Just over $2,000, yeah.
You know? So, but I think that if you were to rename it, I think all of the qualities of the bike, full suspension, you know, it's got oversized suspension on the back, so it's really, really bouncy and comfortable. You know, it's got light, it's de-restricted, so it goes over 30 mile an hour if you want it to.
Yeah, there are two versions. You can buy the Road Eagle version, and you can buy the 750 watt version.
Yeah.
And obviously both you can change the settings. But
I think they could have charged more for it, because I think it's a very good price. And like, I know there's people out there that watch this channel that'll go, $2,000?
Yeah.
I'll build one for that. But as I've said, you've got to have the know-how for that, the patience, the skill, you know, and most people don't do that. Because you think, I compared it in a comment to building PCs. Me and Paul are fully capable of building our own PCs, you know, but the majority of people will go on a website and have someone else build it for them because they don't want to do it. They don't want to take the time.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm one of those people when it comes to bikes.
And putting it together was enough for me, man. Honestly, I'd have paid that 50 quid build fee. Like, in hindsight now, obviously I'd have never paid it beforehand. If they were like, it's 100 quid to build it, I'd be like, fuck off, I'll build it myself, you know? But in hindsight now, I'd have paid £100 for them to build it, just because it was such a nightmare for me.
Yeah.
Like, I am a Tonkin, so everything goes wrong. But, God, the tools didn't fit, you know? It was just, the instructions were gibberish, or just, they weren't gibberish, they were just so lacking. Like, it was like, here's 4 steps to do a 400-step job, you know? And I'm like, okay.
I think that's our summary done.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for watching, guys.
Yeah.
Also, if you are interested in a bike, buy it, because these companies need it, and they're going defunct left, right, and centre. You know, as I know firsthand. So
invest in the future.
Yeah.
Do it.
But yeah, thank you very much for watching, and as always,
stay awesome.